Thanks, Asaph. Hey guys, welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I'm your host, Scott Ramf.
And I'm also your host, Noelle McAvoy. And it is Wednesday, so TGIF.
Yes. What? TGIW. Oh man, you're just like, it's early, it's too early, you can't confuse me like that. But anyways, we have to speed through because I have a lot to talk about with City Council. I have over 15 clips.
City Council was really heated the other night, and there's been some hot topics. So we're going to kind of do most of our show, focus a lot of our show on that.
Yep. But, for the first half, we're going to do nothing but events. But of course, I do want to talk about our animation drop-in. So you can find out more information about our animation drop-in by going on to MCAT.org. It's our very first front page. It's Stop Animation Drop-in. And join MCAT as we launch our new animation weekend drop-ins. For only $10, your kid gets to learn the ins and outs of stop animation. And so if they click on the picture, they see our little pictures and pages and stuff. I just made this up yesterday, so it's probably terrible, but you can also sign up online and you can just put your information right here.
Yep.
And it's just
the counselors will be Scott and I, and so it'll be a lot of fun.
And sometimes Mason.
Yeah, and sometimes Mason.
So that's like, it's like
we're the trifecta.
It's like vowels, and he's sometimes Y.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. It's a lot of fun, and so sign your kid up. We're going to have a great time every Saturday. And
expect this Saturday to be quite nice, because it's supposed to be rainy the next 2 days, but then Friday and Saturday it's going to be sunny into the 70s, but for today, your high is going to be 56 degrees. It is currently 44, so it's like, I gotta say, pink skies in the morning, sailors take warning.
Yep.
It's totally true because it was such a nice morning. It feels so nice outside.
It was nice and light. And
yes. Yeah. It may be a little nippy, but it's not too bad. But tonight there's a 60% chance of rain with a 50% today, which I don't see too many clouds right now, but we'll see when it gets there. It might just blow past us, who knows? But Thursday we're going to have a 20% chance of rain, so there's that kind of like bubble of rain that's coming through here that we should expect. But that's about that with weather. Nice. To find out more information, you can log on to wakeupmissoula.wix.com/wakeupmissoula. We made you spell it out twice because we're too cheap to buy the URL. You can also find us on our Facebook page, our Twitter page.
You can like Missoula Community Access Television on Twitter, that's Twitter, as well as MCAT on Facebook. And to find out more information about us, you can go to MCAT.org.
Oh, look, there's that Stop Animation drop-in again.
Great.
Oh, wow, that's convenient.
Sign your kid up today.
Sign your kid up today, because it's happening a week from Saturday.
Yes, the
and
17th.
This Friday, again, is Do It in 72, because Do It in 72 starts this Friday, so you have 72 hours to make a film. It must contain 4 elements, must be less than 5 minutes in length, and it must have your name on it, because if you don't put your name on it, we can't give it to you. Otherwise, last year we're going to have 3 videos that had the word awesome sauce in it. It's like, what's this video? It's awesome sauce video. It's like, there's like 3 other awesome sauce videos. Who are you? It's like, I'm Sam Smith.
I'm here all the time.
Sam Smith. Like, who are you? I'm Stan Smith. It's like, I can't figure this out. I can't figure this. This is too hard. I need help. Anyways, and if you guys stick around long enough after the City Council, I'll have some Hallmark or Bullmark for you. But for right now, here is Noelle McAvoy with events.
No, I have a video.
Oh, never mind. We have some more bantering and more cool things to talk about.
So, you guys remember we were talking about little Turkey Tom, who is this dog that had he had some issues going on with his legs, so he couldn't walk. But they found him a little home in Vermont, and it looks like he made it. And here's a video of him playing with his new brother. So enjoy, you guys.
Hey. Hey. Honey.
Aww. Like any dog, anything new like freaks him out.
Well, he's just so like, you know, it doesn't bother him. That thing doesn't bother him. He's just so awesome. He's so happy.
Yeah. It's like the old saying goes, you know what's happier than a 3-legged dog? A 4-legged dog.
Yeah, smart. Yeah. So Turkey Tom is happy and in Vermont and hanging out with his new siblings. So I just wanted to update everyone on that because I saw that yesterday. It just melted my heart. Yeah. But this is what's going on for Wednesday. So this morning at 11, we are over at Spectrum Discovery area, and for their Discovery bench is paleontology. I'm sorry, paleontology, and Brain Lab is isosection. Scott literally just opened a beer.
No, I did not.
So early. Oh, gosh.
I just wanted to do that sound effect while you were talking.
That was hilarious. I hope you all enjoyed that at home. And then over at the Missoula Public Library, starting at 12:30, they're having a resume class. A registration is required, but I mean, it's so early. I bet you can still call and find out. So call 721-2665 to sign up. And it's a resume class. A representative from Job Services will teach you the basics of how to create a resume using databases and basic templates to make formatting easy.
Data.
Yeah, so bring all your details, all of your resume details that you need to, like education, schools, names, addresses, references, and previous jobs. And it's 12:30 in the computer class.
And always say that you're proficient in Microsoft Excel.
Always do?
Always do.
Okay, you guys.
Which doesn't make any sense, but everyone puts that on there. That's like the universal lie.
Is it? I'm proficient in Excel. Yeah. And then we are still at the Missoula Public Library for this next event for their middle school writers. Starts at 3:30 till 5. It's for writing grades, kids in grades 6 through 9. And it's pretty much just for kids that like need some feedback. If they want to get feedback, they play with words, need a place to hang out. Yeah, so that's over at the public library at 3:30. And then over at Living Art of Montana, they're having a Create Your Own Day of the Dead shrine. So registration is required. You can call 549-5329, but it's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so I'm sure you still have time to call if you want to. Yeah, so it's a 2-week Day of the Dead shrine making workshop at Living Art of Montana, October 7th and 21st from 4 to 6, and it's open to anyone dealing with illness and loss, including care providers and family members. And then over at the Top Hat Lounge, we've got our Fish Happy Hour, so the jam band Fish. They've got a themed happy hour over there, usually on Wednesdays, starting at 4:30. And then over the North Side Kettle House, they've got beers for the Bob. They are going to be drinking, giving 50 cents to each, from each beer sold will go back to the Bob Marshall Wilderness Complex. Yeah, that was really hard to say.
I'm sorry. Bobtoberfest is one of those. I'm just, okay, I just gotta say something. Okay, I just feel like this Bob is just some guy. It just reminds me of that Seinfeld episode where George Costanza had to make up a nonprofit or a charity organization. He called it the Human Fund. And this guy just was completely general. He just called it, it's the George Costanza Fund, or it's the Bob Fund. It's like, give 50 cents per beer to Bob. But that's that. If you want to give 50 cents to Bob, the Bob Squad.
It's funny because their event page, it says, join the Bob Squad on our Bobtoberfest tour of Montana. It's just super funny.
I should tell my dad because his name is Bob. And I could probably join because my middle name is Bob. So.
Well, I'm going to go anyway because I like Bob. Woo!
Woo! Maybe I can put in a few good words for Bob. I'd say, but first I'll ask what his credit score is.
Yeah, thank God, because that's my first question. Ladies, tip. You're going to ask a guy out, just find out what his credit score is first.
But, you have to make a bar graph about how good looking they are to how the credit is. So, like, it's a line. It's like if they fall below the line, but if they're really hot, then they fall above the line.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a...
Yeah, I'll make a graph for you
depending
later.
on how shallow I feel that day. Yeah.
It really depends.
Yeah?
And if it's the weekend, it's really low.
Yeah.
Well, especially Friday or Saturday night. It really depends. Everybody's just like...
I don't even care. Woo! And then on a Wednesday, you're like, eh.
Well, kind of. Well, it depends. Like, they have, like, all you can drink at that one place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The bodega. So that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Well, college kids, well, they're not watching. This is too early.
Yeah,
they're watching us in the afternoon online. But anyways,
all of our older friends are watching.
I have too much to talk about.
Oh, no.
I don't want to talk about this.
Okay. Oh, you don't want to talk about this guy?
I just want to...
Scott doesn't want to talk about this.
I have a lot to talk about.
But he doesn't want to talk about this. Okay.
I wish I had the cracking sound effect.
Over at the Learning Center at Red Willow, there is meditation for veterans starting at 5:30 this evening. So it's in partnership with the American Legion, and it's a free meditation course for veterans and their families and caregivers. So it's really to help with like sleeping and PTSD and just like getting their lives and their spirituality and their emotions balanced again. Yeah. And then over at the Missoula Public Library, which we just love the library, they have the best events. They have so many events all the time. There's so much stuff going on over there.
Lots of going on.
Go over there, you guys. The library's great. But they have an open jewelry studio in their makerspace. So you can enjoy a collaborative workshop atmosphere with a makerspace mentor, Irene Pritzak.
They should totally do a bedazzle days.
Bedazzle would be fun. Yeah. From 5:30 to 7:30. 5:30 to 7 to 9.
I'm going to do an event called Bedazzle Days.
Bedazzle Days, where we all just hang out.
Yeah, we're going to bedazzle day.
I bedazzled my dog.
I'm going to bedazzle my corduroys and my mustache.
Woo!
By the way, I'm portraying a hipster.
That's good. Nice, yeah. Okay, and then this next event is one event I wish I could do. Well, I guess it's not that expensive. Okay, so Green Path Herb School's usually got a lot of really awesome events. We're always so expensive.
Yeah,
but this one is the Green Pharmacy, and it's just foundations. It only costs $25.
Wow.
So you can make your own herbal remedies. They're going to be talking to you about covering the basics of herbs. So just as like harvesting, drying, storing your herbs, and tools of the trade. Learn about the botanical names of plants, pharmacy terms, and dosage basics. And then the practitioner will discuss a proper preparation method for different herbs. So it'll be tonight from 6:30 to 8:30, and it's only costs $25. So that's actually really, really reasonable. Most of the time their classes are like $800.
Yep.
And most of the time the classes are like $800, and they're from like Monday through Friday from like 8 to 5.
Well, you can have vitamins.
You have to be like a rich woman.
Well, you can have vitamins, or you can throw more money at the horoscope of vitamins.
I'd rather throw money at the horoscope.
Yep.
Maybe it'll help me. Maybe it won't. I love it.
I think herbal and organic is a balloon term for twice as expensive.
Yeah, well, it's starting to be. I mean, they put those labels. People look for those labels, and then the prices go up because of those labels. Yeah.
I'm going to have a GMO party. GMO. We're going to call it GMO Days. It's going to follow Bedazzle Days.
You guys stay tuned for that.
Actually, that would be awesome. If KBGA did a Bedazzle Day, and then they just like have people come down to like their parties, and then they bedazzle people.
That'd be hilarious.
That would be the best thing ever.
Why don't we have a Bedazzle Day and a GMO Day? Where you can have
it'd be days with a Z. Days.
Yeah, because we'd just be so dazed because of all the GMOs and the bedazzling.
Yeah, and then we just shine a bunch of lights that reflect off the bedazzled beads, and then it'll be really shiny.
Yeah, and then we'll.
I think this is actually a really good idea. Patent pending.
Yeah, patent pending.
Trademark.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, so over at Headwaters Dance Studio, they've got Turning the Wheels Tapestry class. So it's a 10-week dive into the delight of movement, creative expression, and community. $10 per class, starts tonight at 6:30. And then over at Hellgate Elementary School is Candidates Forum for Ward 2. So all the candidates for Ward 2, that'll be in the neighborhood Grant Creek, Captain John Mullen, and the North Side, West Side. So they will be discussing their positions and why they want to run for City Council tonight at 6:30 over at Hellgate Elementary.
Word. What? Really? Hellgate Elementary? That's my own little tiny school. When I was little Scotty from K to 8.
K to 8, little Scotty.
Little Scotty.
Back then they called him Biscotti.
No, they only started calling me Biscotti 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rough life.
It's a rough life.
Over at the Top Hat Lounge, they've got Blue Moon Jazz and Blues. This is usually, it says it's most Wednesdays, so not every Wednesday. Starts at 7 until 9, and it's usually has various local and regional jazz artists. Yeah. Oh, and then this next one is crazy. The Garden City Stamp Club meeting is going to be at the Atonement Lutheran Church starting at 7. So there's a meeting of Missoula stamp collectors, free stamps to new members to help with starting collection. That's nice of them. Check that out. Socrates Cafe is over at the Public Library at 7. This is an informal yet intelligent and lively discussion of topics relating to core areas of philosophy. So they're pretty much just going to like get together and just like accuse things and be like, yeah, and then be like, no, and come up with just crazy stuff.
Yeah, these are always fun.
If you feel like speculating, do it. And then over at the University of Montana, Benny Green, which is a solo pianist, is going to be performing. He will be at the Montana Music Recital Hall. He is the Jazz. He's playing as a part of the Jazz Artist Series. Yeah, so it'll be at 7:30. And
I wonder if Ron's going to be filming those.
Ooh, I hope so.
I'll tell him about it.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. And then we've got, over at the Roxy Theater, we have a documentary. It's called Debut of an Alien Place. It starts at 7:30. It's a documentary that seeks to shed light on the imprisonment of over 2,000 Italian and Japanese men that were held at Fort Missoula during the World War II internment era.
Yep, I saw clips from the documentary. It is amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, so it's about that, about the history. It's going to be at the Roxy Theater tonight at 7:30. They'll have guest speakers that include historians and an internee's descendant and the film's producer. Tickets are $5 each.
Which is pretty good for the Roxy, because most of their tickets are $8 for general
10,
shows, general admission.
And 14 kids, 14 and under, get in free.
What?
Yeah. And then I've got some music going on tonight. So we've got a Big Gigantic and the Floozies. We'll be at the brand new Wilma Theater at 8 p.m. We've got some trivia at the Press Box at 8:30. Karaoke at the Eagles Lodge at 8:30. Karaoke at the Badlander at 9. Milk Crate Wednesday, which is some electronic music, at the Palace at 9. Double D Karaoke at the Sunrise at 9. And the Ultimate Painting and Boston Tea Party will be at Stage 112 at 9. Cool. Yeah. So now we're going to switch gears and go on over to ASAP segment.
This will be relatively short because, according to these notes, there's not much to talk about on this guest we're talking about today, because it talked more about the founder that we talked about at the beginning last Friday, Ted Healy, and the issues that the Three Stooges had. But anyway, with our guest today, before there was terms like awesome sauce and cool and all that other stuff, there were whoop, boop, 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 and certainly means certainly, and yuck, 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 yuck. And of course, we're talking about Jerome Lester Horowitz, known to the world as Curly Howard. Curly comes from a Jewish family, like I mentioned with the other Stooges, and their last name was Horowitz in real life, and they changed it as far as their stage name to Howard. So there was Mo Howard, Shep Howard, Curly Howard. They were brothers in real life. Curly was born 1903, and he's best known, of course, obviously, being probably the most recognizable, the most funniest of the Stooges, with his expressions and his improvisations. And when he would do things like forget his lines, he would go into improv with some of these sayings and things like that. Like he'd roll around. You remember when he'd roll around and spin around like a top? Things like that. Those were ways for him to improv until he could remember what his lines were. And of course, in his case, it worked. One sad thing about Curly, remember when I talked about Larry accidentally almost drinking the acid?
Yeah.
Well, Curly, as a 12-year-old little boy, accidentally shot himself, clearing out a gun, and it would explain the walk that he went on to have with the Three Stooges. So those just little tidbit of history there. We got that clip?
Yes,
Curly?
we do.
Let's show that. Now, Curly's on the far right.
What do you guys think you've been eating for the last month?
Oh, no wonder every time I sneeze, I neigh like a horse.
You make the coffee, Porcupine. You slice some bread, Empty Skull. I'll do the ham and egg.
Cabbage Head. And don't
As you
forget,
see,
divide
Curly,
everything up equally.
He's probably the most funniest, recognizable.
Don't
Been
worry.
abused the most by Mo right here, obviously. And as I talked about, Mo was not the original leader. It was Ted Healy. When Healy left the group, Mo became the leader. And you can see where Mo's always hitting his companions, his friends, and stuff like that. He loves them all, but he just has a funny way of showing it. And again, like I said, there's not much to talk about other than just the sayings that Curly had. There's no awards. There's not much about his life except for the accidental shooting incident. Now, Curly did have a full head of hair in real life, because the clip that we showed last Monday, when they took the nose pin off his nose, you can see he had a full head of hair. And it was shaved for this part here, and on his off time, he let his hair grow back. So, and Curly was married and just a family man outside of the Three Stooges. He died relatively young. He was only 48 when we lost him in 1952. But he left the world some great comedy, and I think his most famous Stooge episode is the Disorder in the Court, which I think everybody has seen that and knows that one.
Nice.
So that's my little tribute to Curly Howard.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Asaph.
Sure.
All right. That was Musical Notes with Asaph Adonai, and now we've got some Thursday events.
Woo.
So going on tomorrow is we got some kid events to start off the day. We have Tiny Tales at the public library starting at 10:30. This is for babies ages birth through 3 years. They must be accompanied by an adult lap, which is I don't really know why you'd be like, "Here, take my kid," and you'd leave. But participants will sing songs, learn finger plays, nursery rhymes, and hear stories. And then over at Family Fun Time, Mismo Gymnastics, we have Family Fun Time starting at 10:30. And this is an open gym for ages walking to 12 years, and they just have trampolines and foam pits and bars you can fly off, you know, everything that you could want. And then we have Preschool Playgroup starting at 11. This is for ages walking to 5 years. And so they set up fun station activities throughout the gym, and then children and parents get to rotate and choose what they want to do. And over at Spectrum Discovery area at 11, there's Discovery Bench's Geology, and the Brain Lab is Plastic Brains. What? Oh, I don't know. Yeah. And then so we've got a NAMI forum. It's a Psychiatric Advanced Directives. It's at the Broadway Building Conference Center at 500 West Broadway. So Roberta Zanker, which is with Disability Rights Montana, will explain psychiatric advanced directives and the role they play in helping individuals and families obtain the treatment and help they need from the mental health system. Yeah. Check that out if you want any information about that. And we've got Lego Club over at the Missoula Public Library at 3:30. And then over at Tense Food Vineyard and Winery, we have Double Punch Thursday, which is where you can reserve 2 punches on your glass punch card for every glass of wine purchased. Oh man, that sounds great. That starts from 4 to 9.
And if you filled the punch card, you get more wine.
Yeah. And then we have Family Fun Time at the Y over the Missoula YMCA. So they have activities for everyone, parents and children alike. They have nice, comfy chairs for parents to just hang out and chat in, and then kids get to roll around on scooters and run around and get crazy. Starts at 4:30 and is free in your membership, or $17 per family without a membership. Over at La Grata Bella, we've got their downtown drop-in wine tasting. This is at the Old Post Pub. Well, you can pay at the Old Post Pub. It's underneath it in their little underground room. It's a minimum of 4 wines and $10 to just drop in. Treasure State Toastmasters, Treasure State Toastmasters is over at the Community Medical Center at 6 p.m. This is for people to hone their speaking and leadership skills in a low-pressure setting. So you can increase your confidence, become a better speaker, become a better leader, and communicate more effectively. Starts at 6. Blue Moon is playing over at Draftworks Brewing Company at 6 p.m. They are blues. And then over at the Jack Reedy Conference Room in the City Council chambers, there's going to be a community forum leadership team meeting. So agenda items include community forum presentations, neighborhood project and relocated funds, neighborhood councils and community forums, special events, reports, public comment on non-agenda items, and announcements.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then over at the UC Theater, there is the 10th annual Real Rock Film Tour. So this is an annual tour of the best climbing and adventure films. Tickets are available at the outdoor program. Admission includes entry to the film and raffle prizes. $10 in advance to $12 at the door. Then NAMI is putting on another event. They're doing Poetry from the Edge. This is going to be at Fact and Fiction at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Apparently it's Mental Illness Awareness Week, which I wish I'd known earlier. So 2 people will be reading from their poetry and prose about mental illness. And then over at Bitter Gymnastics, we've got adult TNT from 7:30 to 8:30, so it's ages 16 and up, and it's just $8 to drop in. And then we've got some music going on tomorrow night too. So, first we've got some trivia. We've got trivia at the Holiday Inn downtown at the park, 7:30. Trivia over at the Lucky Strike and Casino, 8. We have an open mic at the Eagles Lodge at 8:30. Horse Feathers will be playing at the Top Hat Lounge at 9. Open mic at the Broadway at 9. Dead Hipster will be at the Badlander at 9. Rock and Karaoke will be at the Dark Horse at 9. Northern Lights will be playing at the Sunrise Saloon at 9. And then Rooster Sauce, American Falcon, and Judgment Hammer will be at the Palace at 9:30.
Yep.
So that's what's going on with your events. Check out MissoulaEvents.net, The Independent, the University of Montana's website, or the newspaper. And that's where you can find out everything that I talked about and more. But now we're going to switch gears, and we're going to go over to City Councils, because Scott's got a lot to say.
I have a lot to say. In fact, I don't necessarily have a lot to say, but people in the City Council have a lot to say with mixtures of public comment, city council comment. There's a couple city council members who are just like, they're pretty much out the door, just like they're checked out. They're just like, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, this is basically the top stuff that happened at city council. There's an increase in wastewater fees. So if you are part of the wastewater treatment plant's wastewater system, then the fees are going to increase by 2.5% in fees effective January 2016, and then they're going to plan on doing this for the next 3 years. And this is for general improvements and upgrades that they need for the wastewater treatment plant. The background is that we had, I think it was like Blackstone, like a engineering outfit, looked over the wastewater treatment plant because that's what they do, and they said that they're completely under code. There's a lot of things that are under code, but of course the wastewater treatment plant is doing a new thing by utilizing poplar trees to recycle some of the water. So that's the more natural way, but it's definitely one of the different ways. Yeah. But other than that, there's the Scott Street Urban Renewal District to pay for costs of associated infrastructure and improvements from tax increments revenue of the district. Public hearing is on October 19th. And, of course, the wastewater public hearing is on November 2nd. So you look for that in the future if you don't want to pay higher fees or you don't want to pay for this urban renewal district on the north side. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the proclamation, because since it is Mental Illness Awareness Week, and John Egan had his own proclamation to reflect that.
Folks, whereas mental health is an essential part of overall health and wellness, and whereas mental illness affects significant numbers of individuals and families in Missoula, and whereas mental illness is linked to other social issues such as homelessness and addiction, and whereas stigma and stereotypes surrounding mental illness often deter people from seeking treatment, and whereas public education and open discussion can promote mental health and more effective treatment of mental illness, now therefore I, John Egan, Mayor of the City of Missoula in the state of Montana, do hereby proclaim October 4th through 10th, 2015 as Mental Illness Awareness Week in Missoula, Montana.
All right, so the next part is there's a further proclamation, and it is the End of Family Kaboom proclamation. So actually, it's the Fall Family Fest Kaboom Play Day, and this is something that we're going to be doing next October 17th. But it's the but yeah, here's more of a proclamation in terms of this Kaboom kid thing. I'll let the mayor
that we're going to be
yeah.
And second this evening, whereas Missoula is a community dedicated to caring for its children and teaching them principles for healthy living, and whereas it is in the best interest of our community to create a generation of children who are happier, smarter, and healthier, and whereas we wish to increase awareness of the benefits and availability of play in our community, and whereas we wish to celebrate our commitment to healthy lives for our children, and whereas Kaboom.org has designated Missoula as Montana's first playful city USA. Now, therefore, I, John Egan, Mayor of the City of Missoula in the state of Montana, do hereby proclaim October 17th, 2015 as Fall Family Fest Kaboom Play Day. That's a lot. And call upon all residents to join with me in supporting the efforts and activities of Missoula's play community, Active Kids, and its partners to teach children the value of play. And that.
All right. So that was the mayor talking about Kaboom.
Mayor.
And of course, they have a whole bunch of those Kaboom events that are coming up as well. That is October 17th, the same day we're premiering our
stop motion animation camp. So Scott and I will be at the Adams Center doing stuff for kids. We're going to be doing some stop motion stuff. So either bring your kid here and you can do camp with us, or you can go to Kaboom and hang out with us there. One of us will be in both places. So
okay, so here is some public comment, and this is a continuation of Mark McMillan, who completely opposes the new gun ordinance. And here is him explaining and clearing up some language that he meant from what he did during last week. So this is Mark McMillan.
that I can see for concealed weapons permit holders in the city, that it's issued by the county. They're actually some of the more law-abiding citizens you're going to have. They're actually exempt from background checks even when purchasing brand new at a store. I don't know how many of you are aware of that. They've paid fees. They've gotten fingerprinted. They've gone through a few things with the Sheriff's Department to actually have that exemption even when it's not required. The other thing I want to bring up is there's no temporary transfer exemption that makes sense for those people who actually want to be responsible gun owners, but for one reason or another can't. And when I say can't, I mean they don't own the house. They may not be able to afford or install a decent safe to protect that firearm. In my neighborhood, there actually has been quite a few burglaries in the last year, one of which took place within a block of my house, I think in July, while neighbors were actually on an extended, one was on vacation, one was in an apprenticeship on another coast. But in that burglary, and I put out those numbers before, we're concerned about firearms getting into the hands of criminals. And we're actually taking the people who are the law-abiding ones to begin with and requiring more of them, and essentially a tax, if you want to call it that, and having to pay for this transfer. But there was a 9mm pistol stolen in that burglary. And that's where I wanted to bring out we can put this money towards actually solving these types of crimes rather than gamble with the taxpayers' money.
All right, so that was the point he made for this ordinance, how he opposes it, and he says, it's basically an ongoing argument that's going to continue on for quite a while. So look for that in the future. Now I'm going to switch gears. The City of Missoula moves to support the Missoula County Public School Bond worth $158 million school bond. Marilyn Marler and Annalise Hiddle support the motion. And then, of course, here's Annalise Hiddle, who praises the involvement with the bond, not only by the administration and staff, but some of the parents in the PTA that has supported this. So here is Annalise Hiddle.
How impressive I think that the public involvement process was for this project. I know one of the whereases that I put in there specifically talked about this because so many hundreds of parents and students and teachers and community members volunteered their time to go to countless public meetings to ensure there was full community engagement on this. And I was at some of those community meetings, and I know many PTA parents who were there also. And so that's one of the other things that I've been very impressed with Missoula County Public Schools, and another reason why I'm happy to support this project. All
right. So that was Annalise Hiddle. And the next quote I have is from Patrick Weaslehead, who is wants to know, I mean, I'll let him speak, but he specifically wants to know how this will improve children's academia. So just this is what Patrick Weaslehead asked for.
We do this bond issue to increase technology. I would hope that our scores would go up exponentially. And I'm sure that's a big wish, but as we promote this technology increase, I'd like to see some sort of result from what we've done as the bond is passed to show that this has helped our students increase intellectual capabilities down the road. Thank you.
All right, so that was Patrick Weaslehead. Of course, the next quote was from John Wilkins, who is not totally convinced about why the City of Missoula should support something, and he thinks that this should be more of a individual kind of support thing. So this is what John Wilkins had to say.
I am not going to go for an endorsement. I feel that people kind of know what they want to do now. I know what I want to do, and that's a private matter as far as I'm concerned with myself. I've always supported the schools, but I don't think the city needs to go out and endorse things that the voters are pretty well informed on, and I think this is an issue that they're very well informed on. So I am not going to vote for the endorsement.
All right, so that was John Wilkins, followed by another quote. This is, okay, now we go straight to public comment. And here is Candy Matthew Jenkins.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So this is Candy Matthew Jenkins.
for this or endorsing it. The schools have squandered their money. And that's a fact, Jack. I've seen it. Why would I vote for this bond when I know and have been around long enough to see the crappy maintenance done on these schools and all the attention go to schools that are being built then and closing other schools and renting them to private nonprofits? I'm not voting for it, and I hope other Missoulians wake up and see how you're being scammed all the time.
All right, so that's what Candy Matthew Jenkins had to say about that. But of course, Susan A. Patrick, our bestie,
love her.
But she has a few words in response, and this is what she had to say. Here's Susan A. Patrick.
There are things that we need to fix. If you think there's something wrong when students and teachers can't access the internet to complete assignments or take tests, then I urge you to vote for this resolution and support the bonds. If you think that there's something wrong with asking students to wear coats all day in the winter because of a grossly inefficient heating system, or conversely to ask them to keep the windows open in the winter because of a grossly over-efficient heating system, then I hope you will support this resolution and vote for these bonds. If you think there's something wrong with students learning and teachers teaching in closets and even bathrooms due to school overcrowding, I hope you will vote for this resolution and support these bonds. And if you think there's something wrong in this day and age with allowing virtually anyone to walk into our schools at any time because of unmonitored access, then again, please vote for this resolution and support these bonds. We need to give our kids access to 21st century technology and facilities that align with that forward-thinking, high-achieving vision of Missoula County Public Schools. We need to raise kids poised to compete in a global economy, and Missoula employers need a workforce of people poised to compete and succeed in a global economy. That's what these bonds are all about.
All right, so that's what she had to say about the bond.
It just absolutely baffles me how they just don't understand. Like, this is our future. Those children are our future. That stuff is our future.
And and the school system, there's plenty of comments. The superintendent showed up at the meeting, but I just wanted to use Susan Hay Patrick. For sure. She hit it right, the nail on the head, and basically everyone else that showed up and talked about it just kind of repeated what she said.
Yeah, this education is so important, and these children are going to run our world one day. Like, it needs to be like top priority.
Yeah, and the biggest concern is that the schools are exploding at the seams.
Yeah.
Like, they're overflowing.
They're teaching in bathrooms? What?
And of course, you know, many. I mean, I've always asked them, is like, why can't you just open up the schools that you had to close down for this and stuff like that? And they said it's like they just can't afford to pay the staff and the upkeep for that building.
Yep. Yeah. And they obviously need support from the city.
But then,
and we're all in it together.
But here is some more stuff as well. Here is, let's see, where was I? Ed Childers, and this is his response to some of the public comments.
High school were good enough for my mother, so they ought to be good enough for kids today. You probably wouldn't believe that. What we have now is a new administration, we have a new school board, and I believe we have people who understand the need for the physical plant as a foundation for the teaching that needs to go on. And we've got a lot of kids. We want to teach them. Yeah, we don't want them to stay in poverty, so let's try to make things better. I had ample opportunity to work with the school folks that came up with the plan. I did not take advantage of that because there are people in this world who know more than me. 7, I think. So I'm a supporter of this resolution, and I will vote for the bond issues, and I really hope they pass. I know there's a lot of folks who are worried about that 75 cents a day that it might cost them, but we go back to the old cheer of 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits. Maybe we won't have to go for $1, and thank you.
All right. So that's what Ed Schilders had to say. So in the beginning of the comment, did he kind of think that I was about to oppose it? And then, like at the beginning.
As soon as he said, if they were good enough for my mother, then they should be good enough for you. I was like, his mother probably went to school like 60, 70, 80, 90, 80 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's when I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Ed Schilders, realist.
And then, that's what I wrote.
I know.
He actually said that. But here's Mike O'Haron with this as well.
Are really good at funding some things like the military and subsidized bonuses of high-powered bankers. This is the type of infrastructure investment that we as citizens have the most influence over, 1 vote per voter, and we can directly positively impact our children and young adults, local quality of life, the economy, and the future of our democracy. I hope voters support it. A resolution of support from Council may not have teeth in terms of policy, but we are policymakers, or rather, we are policymakers. But it is a strong statement by civic leaders that this is a very important civic matter, and I support the resolution.
So right then and there, Mike O'Haron basically summed up the whole entire policy and the reason why the city of Missoula wants to support this thing. So basically, there were 10 yeas, and even Wilkins changed his mind and voted in favor of this. Good. Even though before, during what he was talking about is just like, I just want people to vote on their own. For their own sake, and we don't need the city to support this. But then he changed his mind, and he added to the yay. Adam Hurt said no. Alex Taft, he abstained. Huh. But, yeah, so the city of Missoula supports this bond.
Good,
so
good.
That's what's going on with that.
Our future. That's
all right,
very
so switching gears, here is a little, things get a little heated towards the end of the meeting when there was a proposal. Ooh, man, sorry. Ooh, so much carbonation in my system. Okay, so there's a proposal to improve downtown buildings through a commercial design standards update. And Jason Wiener, here is Jason Wiener with a little bit more information and background on that thing.
Currently, Missoula has design standards for commercial development that exceeds 30,000 square feet in size. We have design standards for multi-dwelling.
No! The sound cut out. I'm sorry, folks.
Can you give us a brief
for commercial development under 30,000 square feet. This is development that happens along our most visible corridors. It most defines community. It's like, and some of it doesn't look very good. The proposed standards won't make that go away. But we can raise the floor. We can do things like do away with blank facades on streets, do away with parking that interferes with the interaction of the building and the street. We have an opportunity to make Missoula a better place by raising the bar on what's an acceptable level of commercial development. It's incumbent upon us to do this, and I'm really pleased that Council's agreed to take this first step in getting public comment, planning board input, and then moving forward.
Yep. So I'm glad he got his point out before the audio cut out too much. But yeah, there is definitely a major improvement that he wants done in the downtown Missoula area without, of course, sacrificing the historical charm that is Missoula, Montana. Further on, here is Adam Hertz, who fears that this new design ordinance update standards would be a threat to mom and pop shops in downtown Missoula, and here's why.
And it's a legitimate thing for government to do.
commercial design standards are a matter of taste. It's not a legitimate thing for the government to be involved in. It's likely to decrease the level of development in the city. It's assured to be more burdensome on local mom-and-pop businesses than it is on national chains. And again, it's government dictating taste rather than looking at health and safety.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah, Adam heard.
And basically what he said is it's like taste over public safety. That's what he was going to say.
The government doesn't get to dictate what they think looks good.
Yes. So furthermore, here is Brian von Lossberg, and of course he's going to, he's talking about he's part of the Downtown Master Plan team, and he supports this commercial design standards update.
On that team, this is a discussion point that group and the areas they represent are interested in having. There's a workshop coming up that they had pursued on this very topic, and I'm certainly very interested in the further feedback that we're able to obtain through a planning board public hearing and further development on this proposal, and I'm supportive.
But usually I use that quote as a kind of like as a transition for sure. So the next thing is that Mike O'Haron, he asked Jason if there's any other towns that reflect this commercial policy plan, just to help clarify and see who we're modeling our commercial standards plan after. I think it's Bozeman personally. But anyways, here's Jason Wiener.
And I am fortunately on the sidelines of that. But I remember my own election, and when I ran the first time, I ran talking about what I called the moral quality of the built environment, and that is how the things that we build as a community can make us better or less good people. And what I define as people are people who are more engaged, who have relationships with the people around them, and projects that they care about. And we can't ignore that we are always already influencing that by the shape of the community that we build, and specifically, I think, the commercial corridors that discourage people from interacting with the environment in any way by getting around in an automobile, and by putting up buildings that leave no room for inspiration, that leave no desire to do anything that looks like it didn't come straight out of a box, is us failing at our job. And that's what I ran on. So here I am, doing what I said I'd do, lo those 8 years ago.
All right, so that's what Jason Wiener had to say about, you know, I think he's kind of, he wanted to run because he wanted to make Missoula a better place to live. Yeah. And he wanted to make Missoula look better to reflect that.
But I think Missoula's so, like, we're so funky. Like, Missoula is so, like...
But he also doesn't want, you know, like he said, out of the box, not like just like straight from the box, not like out of the box thinking, but... I don't know, that can be told in different ways.
I understood him saying that is like he didn't want everything to like look generic and look the same, but that's what it sounds like he wants everything to look.
Yes.
Generic and the same, but that's so boring. Like, why?
That's what he's afraid of.
He's afraid of things looking generic and the same?
Yeah.
But I don't think that it could because, you know, like news stores...
He wants to do these design standards so there's a way to improve it in terms of making buildings a little greener and making move room, because he wants to eventually...
Okay.
Because I think it has to reflect also the Thomas Marbar, because Thomas Marbar is getting rid of their parking in their front so they can make a patio and stuff, and they're also paying extra fees so they cannot have parking, and they would just have like outdoor seating and stuff. So that's the idea.
Which I also think is very silly, because it's only nice in Missoula like 4 months out of the year.
No, it's been really nice for a long time. Like last year, I mean, like just this last winter was really nice. But of course, we have Adam Hertz. One more clip, and then I'm done. And here's Adam Hertz with a response to Mike O'Haron's question as well.
Comment was probably more snarky than anything, but it certainly doesn't even warrant an in-depth study to know that when you facade changes, when you require windows, when you require a lot of the changes that are in these design standards, the cost of building goes up. It's a fact, and
if you're okay with that, then you're okay with that. But I think we need to be honest about the fact that this will increase the cost of building. If that's something you're okay with in return for having standards that meet the taste of the city council, then that's something you're for. But it's simply a fact that the increase in architecture, the increase in materials and facade changes will be more expensive for folks to comply with.
Further.
All right, so
right.
That's what they talked about in terms of that. The motion did indeed pass. It's not really a motion. It's more like they're going to talk about some more in planning board, public hearings, but they want to update the downtown commercial design standards of Missoula. Okay, and you can, if you want to see the whole meeting, because there's the whole discussion on it, I didn't have time to show you the whole thing, just kind of like the bits and pieces, the stuff that's really just kind of showed what happened at City Council on Monday night. And this meeting was only an hour and 15 minutes long. It was a fairly short meeting, but a lot of people were on point and just got, like,
it seems
had
like
a lot
it was
to
just like
say.
bam, 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 just like went in progression, no one messed around.
It was a really good meeting, and I suggest that you watch it. And you can find out more information by logging on to their City of Missoula website, www.ci.missoula.mt.us, and it will bring you to this nice little page. Oh,
it's so nice. And then to find the city councils, you just go over to your government. Go, if we zoom on in, you go down to city council and just go to agendas, webcasts, and minutes right there.
Yep.
You click on that, it'll bring you to this page. It'll take a few minutes to pop up, but you'll be able to see all the committee meetings, all the archive meetings, city council meetings. Yeah, and just click on one of them. You can watch them through and through. Gives you the
Action
agenda.
summary will basically show you a nice little page that gives you all the information, like all the information that's in red. It tells you what happened.
Yeah.
So you can basically read through and just like, okay, the motion passed. You don't need to necessarily read the minutes.
But it's good to have it so you can find out exactly what's going on in your city council.
A lot of people refer to it, and it's a great resource for anybody. But it's not the end of the show quite yet, because I have definitely one of our favorite segments. It's Hallmark or Bullmark. October themed.
Ooh,
yes.
October.
So, as you may know, that every new season has a brand new crop of movies, or does it? This is also the name of the game, is Hallmark or Bullmark. I read a synopsis from a Hallmark original movie, or do I? and then you guys and you at home have to decide whether or not it's a realistic movie. I give about like 5 seconds for people to guess after I read the synopsis. So I read the synopsis, I say the movie, and I only have a couple of seconds, so you guys don't have a chance to use the Google at home to find out more information.
No.
So here is Hallmark or Bullmark. And okay, are you guys ready?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Hit it, Asaph. Poppy Somervall is hired near Halloween as a temporary nanny by Ryan Lawson, a widowed, work-obsessed executive. Through a series of adventures, an internal, optimistic Poppy sets out to teach Ryan and his 2 young children what's important in life: unconditional love, family, and the joy of everyday occurrences. And this movie is called October Kiss. Is this a Hallmark original movie, or is this complete Bullmark that Scott Ramp had made up?
Sounds pretty generic. I'm gonna say it's Hallmark.
I'm gonna say Bullmark.
You're gonna say Bullmark?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, are you guys ready?
Yeah. Oh, at home. You guys ready? What do you guys think?
All right, it's a Hallmark original movie.
Oh yeah, totally. That is like the basis of every Hallmark movie. A widow, or I mean, gosh, like a widow. He's got children. Let's talk about.
Or divorcee, or somebody who's out of luck with love.
Yes. Ah. Yeah.
Yep. And you throw kids in it, and it's a family movie.
Yeah.
If you throw kids, you have to throw kids in it. Otherwise, it's not a family movie.
You have to throw kids in there.
All right, but of course, this wouldn't be Hallmark or Bullmark without part 2. So here is the next one.
I'll try to get it
Hit it,
redeemed
Asaph.
myself.
Hit it, Asaph. With big plans to leave their small town, teenage loves Annie and Ben elope. Their big city plans are halted through when Annie's parents have the marriage annulled. And Annie stays behind in Iowa. I don't know why they don't just go anyways.
Yeah.
They don't need marriage. Anyways, Iowa to help her family. 15 years later, when Annie is engaged in Iowa, while Ben is engaged in New York City, they discover that their annulment was never finalized. So I guess their mom just kind of lied or whatever. Okay, Annie and Ben reunite to make their divorce legal, which I don't see why. They can just like email it and just have him sign and then be all good. But anyways, he had to do it himself. But find themselves reminiscing about what could have been if they had stayed together. As romantic feelings resurface, Annie and Ben must decide if their past love could be their future. Autumn Dreams. Hallmark or Bullmark?
Bullmark.
What about you, Asaph?
I'm gonna agree.
Bullmark.
Wrong! Anyways, I had to play you guys.
Shoot.
I had to totally play you. It's a real Hallmark original movie, and they, like, one of these movies are premiering this weekend, so you guys get to watch either October Kiss or Autumn Dreams. And next week, stay tuned for more October themed Hallmark or Bullmark.
Autumn Dreams sounds like it was
it's a jazz song. It's like a jazz song.
Have you seen Sweet Home Alabama? It's got Reese Witherspoon in it, and it's basically the same plot line.
Oh, Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah.
I saw that. That was God,
I love
so
it.
terrible.
Oh yeah, and it's terrible. I love it. But I just love
you have a baby in a bar. That's the only thing I remember from the movie.
And you're gay? Oh my god.
Well, like she had like a best gay black friend up in New York.
Yeah.
And then she went down to Alabama, and it turns out that one of her friends is gay. And then it's like, you guys should totally date, which never works because he never put that's the worst misconception is like you have a gay friend and you meet another gay person. It's like you'd be good together because you're both gay.
Yeah, like that's terrible.
That's terrible. That's like you're saying it's like, oh, there's a man walking down the street. You're a woman. You'd be perfect together.
Yeah, that's literally the same thing. That's like people that like didn't grow up with.
I don't know how we got to Autumn Kiss and Autumn Dreams to that Sweet Home Alabama. It's like you always got to talk about Reese Witherspoon, people.
Well, I just love Reese Witherspoon, and like I'm hankering to watch some Legally Blonde soon.
Yeah. Oh, so I saw. I remember when the bike ambassadors, Sandy and Laura, they were talking about the big game with the big show or whatever, Neil Patrick Harris's show, and Reese Witherspoon was on the very first show, and they have guest hosts, so they have guest announcers, and there was like Alec Baldwin, and he's like announcing for Neil Patrick Harris and stuff. I don't know. I don't know how long this gimmick show will last, but.
It's Neil Patrick Harris.
He's just giving away a bunch of stuff, and him being Neil Patrick Harris. He's selling himself.
People love him.
All right, so.
So we're gonna do some more social media. So
we're like out of time. I didn't realize that.
To find out more about Wake Up Missoula, you can check us out on our website, wakeupmissoula.wix.com/wakeupmissoula. You can like us on Facebook. You can like us on Twitter
at Wake Up Missoula, and also you can follow MCAT on Twitter. MCAT 189 and 190. It's at MCAT TV Missoula. And also you can like us on our Facebook page. It is totally sweet. And you could find out more information by logging on to MCAT.org. You can find out information about Doing 72, our Stop Animation Camp, and how to become a board member for our board, because we're looking for 2 spots. I think 1 spot's about to be filled. Pretty close. It's really close.
So we're looking for 1 more spot for our board, you guys. Yes. So check us out. Just call us at 542-MCAT or 542-6228. That was really,
That was so off. But you knew I was going to say that.
Well, because I do the...
But you can also email us, mcat@mcat.org. You can, anyway, if you can find us and email us, there's like almost hundreds of ways to get in contact with us.
Pretty much. Or just walk right up to our building. We're on the corner of Higgins and Spruce Street.
Yep. Go through the Spruce entrance at 500 North Higgins, Suite 105. That's where we are, where you can make shows like this. Woo! And of course, next Wednesday is orientation. So in 1 week, we have orientation at 5:30. So if you're interested in being a part of Missoula Community Access Television, you can come next Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. But without further ado, I want to thank you guys for joining me and bearing with me for my long city council, because there's a lot going on in the city of Missoulaburg, Indiana.
Missoulaburg. In Missoulaburg, Indiana, Montana.
In Montana.
A lot going on.
Yeah, but for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Ramph.
And I'm Noelle McAvoy. Here's Asaph Adonai.